While waiting with wife for ride to work for wife, I watched what I thought was plane on a proc to airport, or maybe Mars, as it had a faint reddish glow. But it just slowly kept ascending, then all of a sudden, was gone. Lights went out or something, like it went into a door or something. I am 64, no drugs, I am not deranged. Was a shock to see that the light just went out, zap, gone, and there was nothing to be seen in any direction. Yes, we're near the airport. Was about 6:30 am sunrise. That is my report. Good day, MIA.
The 28th of August 2011, 12 a.m. Indianapolis, Indiana saw a light in the sky observed by me and someone else. Sighted from the east side of Indianapolis, Indiana. I was outside looking at the stars when I saw what at first glance, I thought was an airplane. When I looked closer in relation to stars in the sky, this object appeared to be further out than the stars. The object was on a south to north flight path and seemed to speed up and slow down and also weaved from side to side. The object kept on this path until it was completely out of view. There were also airplanes in the sky to reference from. I'm not saying this was an alien craft or anything like that, just something not usually seen. I wanted to make this post to see if someone else saw anything similar or to maybe be able to explain to me what this is. Thank you for your interest.
The 10th of September 2011, 8:30 p.m. Indianapolis, Indiana. I was on North Highway 465. Before exit 65 I was driving. I thought it was a light off of another car, but it was not. Saw one round ball-like object in the air. It was a dull white light. Saw just one at first, then saw about 12 all stuck together. I have never saw anything like this before.
The 3rd of October 2011, 2:30 p.m. I am an auto claims adjuster for an auto insurance company. I drive daily approx. 100 to 250 miles per day. I was in Greencastle, Indiana at the Marathon gas station at St. Road 40 and Street Road 231, Greencastle. Met a customer there, wrote the estimate, then proceeded to drive south on St. Road 231 to get back on I-70 east. I was driving south on St. Road 231 south, approx 3 to 5 miles before hitting the exit for I-70. Out of the left corner of my eye, I saw a bright, silver, disc-shaped object that appeared stationary in the sky. The object was located to the southeast of my position as I was driving south on 231, toward I-70. I would guess that the object was pretty close to the Indianapolis International Airport at the time of my sighting. I am prior Air Force Special Ops, and prior commercial airline jet mechanic. At first, I thought the object could possibly be a plane that had a polished stainless steel fuselage. As I continued to view the object, it was not moving, had no noticeable wings of any type, and was very bright. There were little to no clouds in the sky at the time. The more I looked, the more I realized that I have never seen an object like this, no markings, just a bright perfect disc-shaped object that left no vapor trail, and was not moving around. It just sat there in the sky. As I continued to watch the object, it suddenly just disappeared. It did not move off in any direction, it simply vanished. I thought to myself, holy asterisk 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 asterisk, that was a freaking UFO. The first thing I did was call my wife. I explained it to her, and she then confessed that she had seen the exact same thing some time ago. I asked her why she never told me, and she said that she thought maybe she was just seeing things, and really didn't want to believe what she saw was a UFO.
Indianapolis, Indiana. I and friends were gathered with hundreds of people to watch the huge, music-synchronized downtown Indianapolis fireworks display on July 4, 2011. Toward the end of the display, it became apparent that these dull, dark red spheres were following each other in a linear path, fairly uniformly speed-controlled, but with some individual variations in speed, and some with revolutions. These objects were perhaps less than 50 feet over the crowds, and followed the crowd movements through the downtown streets, fanning out continuously over a large grid. Many people noticed this. A friend's child was told by her former military father that this was a crowd control device, but privately, I was told that this was not the case. The object's size could have been similar to bowling balls, or they may have been closer to kids' rideable rubber, kangaroo, balls. This phenomenon continued on certainly past the point that I had to disperse and go home to prepare for my next work day. I remember wondering whether I should be observed acknowledging these strength in numbers with my friends and others, or play dumb, which I believe I was frightened enough to do. I have not specifically seen the exact same phenomenon since.
The 1st of August 2010, 11 p.m. Indianapolis, Indiana. I was standing on my deck when I noticed a glowing, pulsating orange light in the NE sky about the altitude of an airplane. I called to my wife to come look at this UFO, to play a joke on her, thinking it was a satellite or such. When she came out onto the deck, this aircraft stopped pulsing, moved towards us briefly, then made a 90-degree angle and took off into the sky, disappearing. A movement that seemed very unnatural and very smooth. During our experience we both became captivated, and a dreadful feeling came over us which watered our eyes and was actually terrifying, because without speaking we knew that what originated as a gag was an unknown object. It took our breath away and caused our hearts to beat out of our chest. There was no clear definition to the craft, just an orange sphere-like pulsing light that became solid orange once the movement began. The whole experience lasted about 5 minutes. I served in the military, have experienced many things, but nothing like this, visually or emotionally.
The 9th of January 2012, 7:30 p.m. Indianapolis, Indiana. My father and I had just visited with my mother in her nursing home, and were on our way to pick up fast food and then go to his home on the near south side of Indianapolis. It was around 7 p.m. the 9th of January 12. The sky was very clear and the moon very bright. We were talking about how beautiful the full moon looked and the fact that it was hard to see the stars when in the city. We were driving north, then turned west. After turning west, still talking about the way the stars look like out in the country, we noticed a bright spot a little south of direct west. It seemed to be way too high to be a light on a tower or building. We drove 12 to 14 blocks west, discussing what it might be, even stopping at a red light and watching it, commenting on how it never moved. While at the stoplight, a jet flying very low passed in the distance to the west of us, moving from the south to the north. It was way lower than the light. The jet was close enough to make out the details of the shape. The light seemed to both of us to not cast any beam of light but to just be in the shape of a lighted upside-down V. Dad commented on the fact that the Indianapolis airport was to our southwest and it might be a helicopter, but I thought it was farther west than the airport and it just stayed too still. It was so far away it just looked like a very bright star. We turned left, south, and had gone another 2 blocks when another light appeared, rising straight up to almost level with the first light. It looked like the same size and brightness. We pulled into a fast food place, bought sandwiches and sat there a minute or two watching both lights just hang there. We drove home, maybe 5 minutes, with the lights to our back. When we pulled up at Dad's house, my car was parked facing west and we sat there for maybe 2 minutes, watching, noting that the second light had not moved. The second light then began to move, and we got out of the car and stood on the street watching. The second light moved east and in a wide arc. It was still somewhat south of us, but as it reached a point a little southeast of us, the arc got a bit tighter, and it was then headed northeast. It passed to the east of us, and when it did, we got a clearer look at it. It was still so high that we could not make out real details, but it had a longish-shaped body and was blunt on both ends. There were 4 yellowish, round, lighted areas on the back end, stacked 2 on top of 2. There were 2 white lights on the front, about the same size as on the back, sitting side by side, and the wings were boomerang-shaped with a smaller light blue light near the tip of each wing. None of the lights blinked. The wings seemed to not come out the side of the body but be on top of it. It moved very fast and there was no sound. It disappeared into the northeast within seconds. The original light was still in the same place when I went to bed at 10 p.m. but was gone at 5 a.m. when I got up for work. I don't think me, or my dad were frightened in any way. We just felt puzzled.